The stock market has been rallying up. It's been going in an upward motion for the past, I would say, a couple of months. Pretty much ever since after the elections. Where are things headed up next? How I feel about it? Let's see where we are at right now. SP 500, where the top 500 stocks are. It's at 6,000 point. NASDAQ, we're at 19,000. It peaked over 20,000 before. Dow is just at super high. Remember about a year and a half ago how I said you're just going to wake up one day and you see the Dow over 40,000? Is this a real assumptions of where the economy is? I don't think so. There are things that are still in recovery, and we're going to look at that based on our $1,000 portfolio and our $10,000 portfolio that we had set up back in December of 2023. We are now about a year later to see how we have performed within those two portfolios. Starting with our $1,000 portfolio, we are still in the negative. We are seeing upward positive trends inside of our crypto holdings. So that's ETCG, LTCN, and BCHD. Those are all grayscale based stocks that we had purchased, and they are all in the greens right now, so it's doing pretty well. The only thing that seems to be at a neutral is Jamaya. Everything else is in a bit of a negative, but that's okay. We're down about 156, so it's about 15%, 16% of our value. Best thing to do, don't panic. If you had bought this something similar last year, the best thing to do is hold on or buy in more as you're doing the dip. For simulation purposes, I did not do that. All I did was I purchased all these shares one time in December of last year to see how well we can perform over a year's return. Now let's take a look at our $10,000 portfolio. So that one, a lot more greens, as we can see here. ITYAX is an index fund. It's based on technology, and ARGFX, it's a mutual fund. And then we also have our crypto holdings here, GDLC, LTCN, BCHD, and GBTC. We are up pretty much quite a bit, and you can see all these stocks here are all red. And that's why we have to diversify our portfolio and put some in certain sectors and others in another region. So our $10,000 portfolio is doing a lot better than our $1,000. We are up about 30%. 2,900, which is pretty good. And the leading one right now is Doge. We had invested $300 in Doge. And look how much it has returned us. An extra $1,300. So in total, $1,000 actually. In total, we are at $1,300 for Doge. So it flipped several times, which is pretty amazing. And Shiba Inu, we had invested $200, and its total value is at $545. So those flipped over several times, and it's been a leading part of our portfolio. That's if we were able to actually invest inside of Doge, because some states regulate it where you can't quite invest in those things. Nikola is doing horrible, and it's been going in a downward trend for quite some time. Not sure the future of the company at all. They are in the EV space. All of our EVs are not doing so good. Even Tesla too, although it has risen up. And that's why I don't want to trust the Dow, NASDAQ, and SP 500 as a true indicator of where the economy is, because I still think we're in recovery mode. Inflation has definitely lessened, much more tame, much more controlled. One thing I gotta ask is, where are all these people getting all this money to invest in these different stocks? Because things have just been booming, as well as the crypto side. Crypto is a little bit more exceptions, because internationally you could buy crypto versus some of these stocks. They're not available in all countries and all regions. Lab, another biotech company we're still believing in. I think they're in the low run. Neo, EV space. So Workhorse, all in the EV space is just doing bad. T-Doc, they're telehealth. Nothing hype about it. GoTo and Tal, they're both in the educational space, and there are some policies right now of China limiting them from actually profiting off the programs that they had. Pretty much was after school educational programs for students, and they turned it to be much more of a non-profit, is where they limited them on actually making money, and that's what made the stock pretty much tank. I do think there's opportunities for this in the future. They just haven't figured out entirely how to pivot the business to create that business model that's going to work to get back those margins, those billions that they once were getting with the expectations for the future. But I'm holding on. It's during turbulences and difficult times like this where you have to understand there's a long term for this. Education is not going nowhere. The learning that we consume is not going anywhere. It's just the adoption that these companies must have against circumstances, against the changing economy, changing policies, and how they move forward is what's going to make the success of the company. But at the same time, we don't know. We can make certain assumptions. We never know the exact guarantee. Jamaya, tech space, They got into the whole similar to Amazon experience, but they pulled away from that business. And I do think there's an opportunity for them to expand and grow in the future, or even be bought out. Expand, EV space, they got the flying cars. Star, there was nothing really magical about it. It was one of those random stocks I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. And then Law, they have AI technologies to help law firms perform a lot better. And then we got Rivian, EV space, Beyond Meat. Again, I'm vegan. That's why I pretty much invested in it. Paycom has been doing pretty phenomenal. Paycom, they are at $38 a share, which is phenomenal. We got it at $18.49 a share, so more than doubled in value, which is what I suspected because they were a payment provider. Where is all this headed in the future? I'm not completely sure, other than I think for 2025 we are going to be in a bull run phase, especially as Trump steps in. He sets these policies. There's going to be ups and downs, of course, but I think for the most part throughout his presidency we are going to see some record highs. I think we're at the beginning stage of his. And I don't know where all this money is going to come from. We'll see if the whole policies with the monetary stuff happens, where it loosens up lending, because that's the one thing that's going to boost things up. The minute that happens, it's going to free up so much cash, and companies are just going to be investing left and right, hiring left and right. We're going to see the stock market hit another turn. It might hit like 55, 60,000 Dow. And NASDAQ might hit like 30,000. And we might see S&P 500 hit 10,000 finally. Who knows? It might reach to those crazy numbers. The thing is, I don't know when. It could happen in a couple years, in a few years. Some other stocks we look at. So PBR, they've been pretty flat. Again, I only bought them for the dividends. And then Lumen took a crazy upward trend for the past like couple of months. It went from like $1. And for some reason, something told me, get some. This was like back in July. And it just went on this bull run. And it didn't stop. In August, just kept on going up and up all the way to like $9. I don't know, and I'm not too sure if they're able to sustain or if there's anything that they're building up for the future other than like a couple small AI-based things that they have announced, and everybody goes crazy. Just add AI to everything that you're doing, you're going to see everything just boost up. But it's all a hype. I think at some point things are going to normalize and people are going to be like, oh, it's just AI. Okay. And then our grayscale stocks, as you can see, they definitely came up because Bitcoin came up. So did everything else. But I don't think we are at the peaks of where we are going to be. Like, for example, Bitcoin Cash Trust, we look at the peak that it reached last time was like around $60. And we're at 764. So there's a possibility it should 10x because it usually goes over the last peak that it hit. It went really high. It went all the way to $300. So this is like another 15x possibly that it could potentially hit. And then we have ETCG peaked at $96. So that's about a 6 flip from where it's at right now. But who knows? We shall definitely see. Some of them go higher than they were before. You got Snowflake still riding the wave, killing things. They are a database pretty much provider that helps a lot of organizations hold their data. The thing I realize with these big organizations, they do it for liability reasons. If I can hold my data on your platform, and if anything happens, you're to blame, I can sue you, then I'm going to sign up for your service. That's pretty much it. It's an insurance. Because they have the ability to hold all this in-house, but they would trust these other vendors to actually do it. But they're not at their highs once they were, but at least they're making some progress. Meta reached an all-time high. I bought Meta at like $96 a share, and I didn't stop going there. Right here, when they did these layoffs, I was like, I'm going in. And it just kept on going up and up. It didn't stop. It didn't stop at all. I didn't expect it to happen at this point in time, but something in my mind was like, I don't think they're going nowhere. Although there's just a social media platform, I think people are still going to utilize them for all the other services that they do provide. Because they have WhatsApp. People are on WhatsApp all the time. They have Messenger. Their revenue model against ads is always going to increase, I think, because of that. Even though they have new products that they're exploring, they haven't really found the true 100% product market fit. But people are adapting to it. Like the whole collaboration with Ray-Bans, and you got the glasses. It looks like a normal glasses, and you got the visions and everything. That was the Google Lens that came back way back when, but it wasn't as popular because I look like a Dragon Ball Z, but people weren't into that look. But with Ray-Bans, You wear it as a normal glasses, but it has all this technology. Don't give up on the EVs for sure. Like, as you see, they're just flat or nowhere near where they're supposed to be. I would say diversify in that field, because you just never know when they're going to take off. Because when they take off all at once. Just like crypto. Crypto takes off all at once, and you just don't quite see it coming. It just keeps shooting up. Netflix went crazy as well. It's going to reach 1,000 at some point. Same thing. I bought at 175 a piece. I just saw that there was no way for it to go anywhere, because we watch it while we were during COVID lockdowns. People were on Netflix a lot much more. They're going to keep creating content. Even if you don't watch it, you still keep your subscription for Netflix to just pop it in here and there. I really just watch it maybe like during the weekends. So a couple of times a week, that's pretty much it. And I'm paying them $20-something a month, almost $30 a month. Yeah, so crypto is definitely starting to hit that volatility state. So you're going to see things fluctuate up and down. And I'm swings happens. Don't panic. I think they're still at a lower end, and they're going to normalize to a higher price. I just don't know when. You just have to have the patience. Again, this is not financial advice. You got to do your own due diligence to figure out what's the best timing. Even though there really isn't the best timing, it's just getting in and having the patience to hold on to it. But you got to make that decision for yourself. You can't just listen to a random person that you see on YouTube and expect them to have all the futuristic things that's going to make you wealthy. I'm just sharing what's worked for me with you. Take it as you want to take it. Tractions in the market. We're going to see bull runs. We're going to see things jump out of nowhere. We're going to see stocks shoot up. That makes no sense. This might be also the return of the meme coins, the meme stocks, where things just shoot up for certain things out of nowhere. But you just never know. That's why it's good to diversify. Put your money towards things that you believe in. Of course, stay steady. Don't just pull all your money in there that you actually need to survive. In there, only put money aside that you know you don't need, you don't care about, and you don't mind risking losing. That's the mentality. So that way you're not making decisions that are very emotional based. It's much more like, I'm staying calm and cool. I'm trusting in God to let things happen according to His time and His will. Just remember that investments, wealth building, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a long-term game. Of course, if you're a day trader, that's a different thing. But even them, they'll tell you that they put a lot of hours in order for them to get skilled at it, to get better at it over time. So I hope you found all this insightful. Definitely be cautious out there with these volatilities. Put your emotions aside as best as you can and think with a very analytical mind, not an emotional mind. So peace and love. Trust in Jesus. Have an amazing one.